Hello everyone, this is Claire, and today we're going to be continuing the story of The Little Prince, starting with Chapter 7. Chapter 7. On the 5th day, thanks to the sheep as always, the secret of the Little Prince's life was finally revealed to me. Without preamble, as though voicing aloud a problem he had long meditated in silence, he abruptly asked, "If a sheep eats small bushes, will it therefore eat flowers?" "A sheep eats everything in its path, even flowers with thorns." "Yes, even flowers with thorns." "So what's the use of thorns?" I did not know the answer. At that moment I was busy trying to unscrew a bolt that had got stuck in my engine. I was very worried, for my breakdown was beginning to look fairly serious, and the low reserves of drinking water made me fear the worst. "So what's the use of thorns?" The little prince never gave up on a question once he had asked it. I was irritated with my bolt, so I said the first thing that entered my head. "Thorns are of no use whatsoever. They are simply a flower's way of being spiteful." "Oh." There was a silence. Then he retorted with a kind of bitterness, "I don't believe you. Flowers are weak. They are naive. They reassure themselves as best they can. They think they are being frightening with their thorns." I made no answer. At that moment I was saying to myself, if this bolt resists any longer, I'm going to knock it out with the hammer. The little prince interrupted my thoughts once more. "But as for you, you think the flowers—" Not at all, not at all. I think nothing. I told you the first thing that entered my head. As for me, I happen to have serious matters to attend to." He stared at me in amazement. "Serious matters?" He looked at me, hammer in hand, fingers black with grease, bent over some machine that seemed to him merely ugly. "You were talking like a grown-up." This made me feel a little ashamed, but he continued relentlessly, "You are confusing everything. You are mixing up everything." He was truly very angry. He was shaking his golden locks in the breeze. "I know a planet where a certain purple-faced gentleman lives. He has never inhaled the scent of a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. He has never done anything except add up figures. And all day long, just like you, he repeats to himself, 'I am a serious person. I am a serious person.' And this makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man. He's a mushroom." "A what?" "A mushroom." The little prince was now quite pale with anger. "For millions of years, flowers have been growing thorns. For millions of years, sheep have been eating flowers nonetheless. And is it not a serious matter to try and understand why flowers go to such trouble producing thorns that will never be of any use to them? Is it not important, the war between sheep and flowers? Is it not more serious and more important than the calculations of a fat, red-faced gentleman? And if I personally know a flower which is unique in the world, which exists nowhere except on my planet, but which one little sheep can destroy in a single bite, just like that, one morning without even noticing what he's doing, well, I suppose that, too, is of no importance." He flushed, then continued, "If someone loves a flower, of which there is only one example, among all the millions and millions of stars, that is enough to make him happy. When he looks up at the night sky, he says to himself, 'Somewhere out there is my flower.' But if a sheep eats the flower, it's as though all the stars have suddenly gone out. But I suppose that, too, is of no importance." He could not say any more. His words were choked by sobbing. Night had fallen. I had let my tools drop to the ground. I no longer cared a fig for my hammer or my bolt, or about thirst, or about dying. On one star, one planet, this planet, the Earth, there was a little prince who needed consoling. I took him in my arms. I cradled him. I told him, 'The flower you love is not in danger. I'll draw you a muzzle for your sheep. I'll draw you a shield to put round your flower. I did not really know what to say. I felt like a blundering idiot. I did not know how to reach him or to catch up with him. It is such a secret place, the land of tears. Chapter 8. I soon learned to know more about this flower. The flowers on the little prince's planet had always been very straightforward, adorned with just a single row of petals. They took up no room and troubled nobody. They would appear one morning in the grass, only to fade away in the evening. But one day a very particular flower had sprung up, from a seed blown from who knows where, and the little prince had kept a close eye on this shoot, which was so unlike the others. After all, it might have been a new strain of baobab. But the shrubs soon stopped growing and started getting ready to produce a flower. The little prince watched the growth of an enormous bud, convinced that some miraculous apparition must follow. Closeted in her green room, however, this flower took an age preparing herself to be beautiful. She chose her colours with care. She dressed slowly, adjusting her petals one by one. She did not want to come into the world all crumpled like the field poppies. She wanted to appear only in the full radiance of her beauty. That's right, she was very stylish. Her mysterious preparations lasted for days and days. Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, she suddenly revealed herself. And after labouring with such painstaking precision, she merely said with a yawn, "Oh, I am scarcely awake. You must excuse me, I'm still all dishevelled." At this, the little prince could not contain his admiration. "But you are so beautiful." "Aren't I just?" replied the flower sweetly. "And to think I was born at the same moment as the sun." The little prince soon guessed that this flower was none too modest, but how thrilling she was. "Surely it must be time for breakfast," she announced shortly. "Would you be so kind as to attend to me?" And the little prince, all flustered, fetched a watering can of cool water and proceeded to wait upon the flower. From the beginning, then, she began to torment him with her somewhat touchy vanity. One day, for example, talking about her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let them come, the tigers with their claws." "There are no tigers on my planet," the little prince interrupted. "In any case, tigers do not eat weeds." "I am not a weed," the flower murmured sweetly. "Forgive me. Nor am I in the least afraid of tigers, but I do have a horror of drafts. You wouldn't happen to have a screen to hand?" "A horror of drafts? That is bad luck for a plant," the little prince remarked, and added to himself, "This flower is very complicated. In the evenings you may place a glass dome over me. It is very cold on your planet. It lacks conveniences. Where I come from—" Here she interrupted herself, for she had come in the shape of a seed, and could not possibly know anything about other worlds. Ashamed at letting herself be caught on the verge of such a naive lie, she coughed 2 or 3 times to make the little prince feel at fault. "About that screen, I was going to fetch it, but you were talking to me." At which she pretended to cough once more, so that he might suffer some remorse just the same. So it was that the little prince, despite the willing nature of his love, had soon come to doubt his flower. He had taken at face value her words of no importance, and they made him very unhappy. I should not have listened to her," he confided to me one day. "You must never listen to flowers. You must simply gaze at them and breathe them in. My flower perfumed my whole planet, but I was unable to appreciate her. All that nonsense about claws, which I found so irritating, ought to have endeared her to me." He continued his confidences. "In those days I understood nothing. I should have judged by her deeds and not her words. She cast her fragrance around me and brightened my life. I should have never run away. I should have guessed the tenderness was behind her poor little stratagems. Flowers are so contradictory, and I was too young to know how to love her." Chapter 9. I believe that for his escape he took advantage of a flight of migrating wild birds. On the morning of his departure he set his planets in good order. He carefully swept out his active volcanoes. He had 2 active volcanoes, which were very useful for heating up breakfast in the mornings. He also had an extinct volcano, but as he used to say, one never knows. So he swept out the extinct volcano too. If they are well swept, volcanoes burn slowly and steadily without erupting. Volcanic eruptions are like chimney fires. Here on Earth we are, of course, far too small to sweep out our volcanoes, which is why they cause us endless trouble. With a feeling of sadness, the little prince then uprooted the last little shoots of baobab. He was thinking he might never return here, and on this last morning the familiar tasks all seemed very precious to him, so that when he watered his flower for the last time and prepared to place her under her glass dome, he found that he was on the verge of tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower, but she did not reply. "Goodbye," he repeated. The flower coughed, but this was not on account of her cold. "I have been an idiot," she said to him at last. "I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was taken back by this absence of reproaches. He stood there all disconcerted, the glass dome suspended in midair. He could not understand this sweet composure of hers. Yes, of course I love you," the flower said to him at last. "You had no idea, which is my fault. It is of no consequence. But you have been as foolish as I. Try to be happy, and leave that glass alone. I don't want it anymore." "But what about the wind? My cold is not as bad as all that. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower. But what about insects? I'll simply have to put up with 2 or 3 caterpillars if I want to meet some butterflies. I have heard that they are very beautiful. Otherwise, who will visit me? You will be far away. As for wild animals, I am not afraid of them. I have my claws." And she innocently showed her 4 horns. Then she added, "Don't hang about like that. It's irritating. You've decided to go. Now go." For she did not want him to see her tears. She was such a haughty flower. I think I'll leave it there for today. Man, this was a sad episode. Yes, the metaphors in this book are quite interesting. I believe the flower is meant to be the author's wife, although I'm not sure. I did look it up online just to see what people thought each metaphor was, but yeah, I think it's supposed to be ambiguous. But yeah, apparently she's meant to be his wife, which I find quite interesting, sort of talking about her flaws and shortcomings in such a poetic way, talking about her thorns and how haughty she is and things like that. Anyway, I hope you liked this episode. I apologise for my absence. I've been quite busy lately. It's nearing the end of the year and I just had exams for uni, so I've been quite busy, but I hope that now it's summertime I can focus more on making more videos for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you next time.